Today on American Outlaw, I'm sick. Guys, I have a freaking booked December. So Michael flew in, and one of the things that we want to talk about is tactical communications. I think by now we all know that the standard is the MPU-5 by Persistent Systems. We're partnered with them for our drones and their incredible communication systems that allow me to be able to go 100 miles and fly our UAVs. They work very, very well. They're also very expensive, and they're for the professional end user. The entire dismount kit, which comes like this, is $35,000 retail, 35 grand. Being able to communicate is essential in everyday life. It's essential in any kind of a tactical situation, emergency situation. We just had multiple hurricanes that were some of the worst hurricanes on Earth, where cell phone signal completely was gone and nobody could communicate at all. Now we have another system. Michael has created this system. It's called Beartooth. Some of you are familiar with Beartooth. Some of you have used the Outlaw discount and you have Beartooth. So this is continuing on in what we have been trying to bring to you. What is encrypted communications? What does that mean?
So encrypted communications basically means that you have a network where you can send secure communications that no one can listen to, no one can intercept, and we're accomplishing that by running an encryption layer on top of the network, which means that all of your data is wrapped up and protected in that.
I've seen a lot of comments in our last videos that we did, and in those comments, a lot of them said the government could hack into that anytime. Is that true?
Absolutely not true. So no one has successfully done a brute force attack to AES 256 communication. So it's very secure. It's the same type of security that's keeping your banking records, for example, completely secure.
And so when you create that encrypted, like you create your own IP address for this, right?
Not an IP address, but you create your own network ID and you feed in your own encryption keys that you control.
Right, so I can't just come and guess what you put in there.
No.
That's another thing that makes it super hard to be able to get to, is that it's whatever you make up. So the government didn't get that from you. So the government in general probably hates this. It's why they use it. So to address some of the previous questions that we had on previous videos, and guys, go back, we'll link them below to all of the Beartooth videos, how to set it up, how to make it work. One of the questions was the government would be able to hack this at any point in time. So let me give you a little history between Michael and I's relationship. We were working on a Navy project together. He was, I think, only government, right?
At the time, focused on the government, yeah.
Yeah, only government. And I begged him then, I said, please sell this to civilians. And he's like, I don't know. And then I finally talked him into it. Was it earlier this year?
Earlier this year.
Earlier this year. Please, I think if our military should be able to have it, civilians should be able to have it too. And he agrees, right?
Absolutely.
You have an MPU-5. The main difference in an MPU-5 is MPU-5 pushes live video back and forth. It's $35,000. But to have the same encrypted technology where you can talk and you can use ATAK to see where your people are, it's the same encrypted, right?
Same level of encryption, yep, both AES 256.
So same level of encryption, you just can't push live video. One of the things that you guys asked for and asked for and asked for was, can we hook it to Peltors like the dismount kit can? And so Michael went home, and I guess, what, it's been 4 or 5 months since you've been working on this?
Yep, busy in the Bozeman, Montana headquarters working on this.
And so what did you come up with?
So we came up with the ability to integrate your Peltor headset. So we can integrate several headsets, but today we're going to talk about how to integrate Peltors. It allows you to have all of your push-to-talk communications using the Beartooth network. So would you mind if I just review the components for a minute?
No, absolutely.
So we've got the few main components. So obviously you've got your headsets that you probably already own, Peltors in this case. They terminate with a U174 connector. You're going to want to bring that down to 3.5 to work with your push-to-talk most likely. So you're going to want to get some type of good U174 to 3.5 connector. We happen to like this one by Flight Helmets. We bring that into a physical push-to-talk device. We like this one by Prime Nano. And then go ahead and plug that into your ATAK device. In this case, we've got a Samsung Note 9, but you can use any Android device running ATAK. Bring in your Beartooth plug-in. And that's the complete system to allow you to run your push-to-talk communications using your existing ear protection, in this case, Peltors, running over your fully encrypted Beartooth network.
So whenever you have your regular, we're going to call this the Beartooth dismount kit.
Yes, sir.
And whenever you have the PTT and the Peltor's up, and I will be able to hear it in my ear and be able to talk through the microphone, and it will come up on the phone.
That's right. So you'll go ahead and hit the physical push-to-talk button that you've got up on your chest kit. The audio will be ingested into the system through the boom mic on your Peltors, get pushed out over the network. Your counterpart on the other side will hear it through the ear protection, through the audio on the ear protection side of their Peltors.
One of the things that I really do like is the weight savings, especially for the average civilian. You know, guys, one of the things, you don't have to use these. You can just use a regular. So if you're trying to be gray man, you can just use one of the little buds like the Secret Service uses. I want to show the weight difference and show how significant the weight difference is. Yeah. So we have a Cabela's scale here, which is kind of cool. We have to use it for all our FedEx stuff. If you take the dismount kit from Persistent, and guys, I'm not dogging Persistent systems. I have 16 of these. I use them for work. They're our partner. We love them. We love Persistent systems. We're trying to be able to get you something that will actually be for the civilian, for the average guy out there that just, yes, it's not cheap, but it's not $35,000. So the dismount kit weighs 5 pounds. If you carry one extra battery, 5 pounds, 14 ounces. And if we do the Beartooth kit for the average civilian doing your search and rescue, WROL, whatever it is you guys want to do, it weighs 1.2 pounds. Wow, a 4-pound difference in you being able to carry things and get around. And also, I will tell you this, you show up somewhere with one of these, you've got a whole lot less explaining to do than if you show up with one of these as a civilian. What is the battery life on a Beartooth?
So that's a really important thing to note. That battery inside there will last 3 days under mission usage, and that includes updating your position once every 5 seconds. So you get a full 3 days off the internal battery.
Okay, and then so what most people probably don't know is whenever you use your Samsung phone or your Android phone, you don't put a SIM card in there, correct?
That's correct.
When you don't have a SIM card in there, you're gonna get more battery life. What is the battery life on a phone whenever you're just using Beartooth?
So it depends on how often you're pulling GPS and a few other things, but you could expect, say, 4 to 8 hours on an Android phone when you're running ATAK. ATAK is pretty battery intensive, so if you're just running one of our stripped down Beartooth applications, you're going to get double or triple that lifespan.
You got 72 hours-ish, 3 days on the Beartooth actual mesh device, and then you've got maybe a day on the phone.
Yes.
So you probably want to carry a quick charge little piece. What are those things called?
Yeah, small battery brick just to keep your ATAK phone going. But those are inexpensive and ubiquitous. You can pick up a decent one on Amazon for 10 to 30 bucks. ATAK is the Android Tactical Awareness Kit. It was something built by U.S. Special Operations, and it's a tool that allows you to see what your team's doing, shoot, move, communicate, and have a situational awareness tool for whatever mission that you're on.
I've heard a lot of people say they think that the government can hack ATAK on your phone if you're using Beartooth. Is that possible?
Not possible. The main reason being that Beartooth is not connected to a traditional network. So you're on your own private secure network. There's no way for anyone else to get on that network but you.
I know you guys think that everything is a conspiracy theory, but it's really not. Like, Beartooth was invented for military application. The government uses Beartooth, but because I was able to twist Michael's arm because I wanted you guys to have it, I think I really did work on you like 2 years.
Probably.
And I just think this is probably the most key piece of equipment that you guys are missing. And so I'm excited to be able to bring it to you.
It depends. We're full line of sight radio, so meaning as long as you have line of sight, the two radios can talk. So the longest we've talked is 30 miles off an airframe. So for example, either off a drone or a manned aircraft. Another way to think about length is maybe over open water. So we've talked from the cliffs in Palos Verdes down to Marina del Rey in West Los Angeles. That's about 10 miles. We've talked across an open airfield for about a mile. We've operated in dense trees, whether that be triple canopy or pines, at about 1,000 meters. And then in a dense urban environment, so downtown Bozeman, Montana, or say West Los Angeles, we can talk about 200 to 600 meters per hop down at the ground level. Obviously, if your team is spread out uniformly, you're going to quickly increase the length of that network because you're going to move through each node on the network to increase your total range. But those distances quoted are all single hop distances. Unlike just a traditional walkie-talkie system that goes point to point or point to multi-point, each node on the network retransmits. So, for example, if we've got the mic node, we've got the Outlaw node, and then we've got some nodes off the screen, the data moves through the mic node, through the Outlaw node, and over to those nodes over there. So that's basically what a mesh network means. It means that each node in the network grabs traffic and rebroadcasts it to other nodes in the network. We can hop about 6 times through our network, and as far as supporting nodes, we've supported hundreds during DoD operations, and we're pretty comfortable that we can probably scale up to about 500 total. The most I've personally done is 100, and some of our partners have done 200.
When you say that you've done 100, your partners have done 200, that's 200 of this mesh device.
Yes.
The node.
Yes.
And then, so that could be 200 operators.
Yes.
Or it could be nodes acting as repeaters.
Correct.
Right? So essentially more people than you can get inside of your group.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Basically any piece of ATAK data. So you can push push-to-talk messages, you can push text messages, you could push a marker, so for example a NATO point or even a vehicle marker. You could say there's a tank or an A-10 you could put on the map. You can go ahead and not only say you've marked a safe egress location, you can plan a route to that location. You can even share a picture of exactly what you see. You can push that image through the network so that your entire team can see what you're looking at in real time as an image.
I could be on the ground and let's just say in one of these current conflict zones right now, there's 2 of them going on, and say, that is an enemy tank, and send it back to them. And then my team can see?
Absolutely.
Or, I just captured this guy. Is this the guy?
Yep.
Yes, okay.
Can all be sent over the Beartooth network reliably, quickly, securely.
There's lots of ways that you can use photographs to come back and forth to communicate your message, which is, I think, a pretty amazing and really handy tool to have.
We don't require any legacy infrastructure, so we don't need any Wi-Fi routers, we don't need any cell towers. The entire network backbone runs off the Beartooth radios that you then connect your smartphone to. So you get all your input-output out of your smartphone, but it's all running on the Beartooth network run by these little tiny radios, and we don't require any cell towers or any of the traditional equipment that you would expect.
So essentially, for the people who don't really understand, this is your cell tower.
That's our miniature cell tower, yes.
That cannot be hacked by the government. It's the same encryption as everything else, the same encryption as your bank, same encryption as an MPU-5. This is military-grade encryption for you. Okay, Michael, we have learned that if you turn on a radio like Baofeng, a Yaesu radio, just the standard radios that we can all get, a ham radio, can people listen to you off of a scanner or triangulate you to where you are based off that?
So 2 or 3 good questions embedded in there, so I'll address them one at a time. So listening to you, absolutely not. So we're protecting you both through frequency hopping and encryption, so that prevents anyone from listening to you. And then as far as locating you, which would be called detection versus interception. So these are what are called low probability of detection radios. It's nearly impossible to detect where these radios are at. So we're accomplishing that by frequency hopping very fast and a few other simple but effective tools that greatly nearly eliminate the ability for anyone to direction find you. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but the probability is incredibly low.
Okay, Michael, so we have heard a lot now on the FLOT. FLOT means forward line of troops, right? Especially the Ukrainian conflict right now. That if you key up a mic, you're dead. And we do know from that is true. If you have a Baofeng or your cell phone, you key up that mic, you're dead. MPU-5s are working over there. I think Harris 163s are working over there. We do know that Beartooth works over there. The idea is they get lost in the noise, like in an urban area. Explain that.
Yeah, so if you're using our radio or say an MPU-5 in an urban environment, the frequency we're using that they're using is a very common frequency. So there's going to be thousands or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands or millions of devices that are putting off a similar signal. So if someone's looking for that signal, they're not going to be able to find it in the existing noise.
Now, we do know that what would they see if you're in a field and you're on the FLOT and there is no other noise or very minimal other noise?
Yeah, so let's assume we're out in the middle of a field, there's absolutely no other electronic noise. Our radio, for example, let's say it's a very short piece of communication, a PLI or a text message, you're going to see something going across, you're going to see one blip running across the spectrum and it's going to be gone. So your adversary would have to be there with a spectrum analyzer at the exact time that you broadcast and see that one blip come across. But as we mentioned before, we're using some tools to really eliminate the probability of direction finding. So they might see that one little blip. They try to direction find you. They wouldn't be able to direction find you, and you'd have already moved and be gone again.
Why is it that whenever you're pushing to talk on a regular RF radio, why is it that the technology that exists can pick that up and see that, and people can hear it, and they can't pick this up and see it, and they can't hear it?
Oh, great question. So let's break it up into the two pieces. One is intercepting your communications, and the second piece is detecting. So on the intercepting, it's because they've got a receiver that's on the same frequency that you're broadcasting, and they're just listening to that traffic because A, you're sitting on a single frequency, and B, it's unencrypted. So all they've got to do is just sit and listen. And then the second one was detection. And same thing, if you're just broadcasting on one frequency, not hopping, not doing anything to obfuscate that, someone can use a piece of direction finding equipment to see where you're at based on that signal. The reason a radio like this is very hard to direction find is that we're frequency hopping very fast, which makes it more difficult to direction find. We're using a couple other simple tools to do that. So it allows a radio like ours to greatly reduce the chance of being direction found. Again, it's not zero, it's very low.
You know, on the internet, we see a lot of stuff about ham radio.
Yep.
And ham radio, you need an operator's license.
Yep.
Do we need any licensing with the Beartooth?
Nope, Beartooth is completely license-free. We operate in the ISM spectrum, which is license-free. So you don't need any special licensing to use the product. You can just buy it and start using it.
Okay, so we know that UAS is the thing now. It's not even the future, it's now.
Yep.
We're just going to develop new tactics, techniques, and procedures as we go.
Yep.
And so you have something unique for UAS that you've added. What is that?
Yeah, so we've gone ahead and taken and integrated the ATAK UAS tool with the Beartooth ATAK plugin. So now if you're running a UAS, you can get all of that information back over the Beartooth network. So you can get speed, heading, field of view. You can even pull an image off the drone, pull it down over your Beartooth network, and see it on your ATAK system. So we've taken and fully integrated the ATAK UAS tool with the Beartooth ATAK plugin.
That's pretty awesome. So this makes it to where it gives you more availability, accessibility to your drone that you're using to make sure that you understand what's going on the battlefield.
Absolutely, and we do it in a way that's really efficient for you. So in the old days, you'd have to use again, to your point, a $20,000 or $30,000 radio to pull that data down. Now we're allowing you to pull it down with a $1,000 radio that's really light, weighs 6 ounces.
Okay, Michael, do these work with any other radios? Like if I already have an existing radio, can I work them together?
So they work with lots of radios. So we want to be really clear. Anything that's an IP-based radio, so your MPU-5 that you've got sitting there, a Silvus radio, a Harris radio, a Trellisware system, Starlink, anything that's running an IP-based network, you can take one of our gateways that are also available for sale on our website, plug that gateway into your existing radio system, say your MPU-5 or your Starlink, and your Beartooths now can traffic all their ATAK data all over to your MPU-5 or Starlink network as well.
So if we were looking at some TTPs that are available, we could take the new Starlink Mini.
Yes.
Or any Starlink, but the Starlink Mini, because it's just out and it's really cool.
Yep.
Plug a gateway into it, and this would allow our nodes to talk to the Starlink, to the gateway, which would allow it to come, let's say we're in a foreign country or a different state, which would allow us to talk back to the home base.
Absolutely. So, or for a simple example here, stateside, I think we're still planning to build the Lubbock Beartooth, the Lubbock Outlaw Beartooth network. So we'll take that network, we can plug it into a Starlink, we can push it up and out and get to our Bozeman headquarters and vice versa.
So that's coming, guys, the Outlaw Network in Lubbock, Texas. And you guys, as you start reaching out to us, and those of you who have purchased Beartooth, you guys will be able to tap into our encryption and be able to talk to us. So that's coming. When are we going to do that?
I think either end of December or early January, we should get that put up and going here.
All right, so if you guys want to be a part of that, where you can talk through the network, and we can just create our own little network here to be able to just talk, have encrypted comms back and forth, share news, meet other people, network, that's all coming. You'll be able to be a part of that really soon, so you don't want to miss this Christmas sale on the Beartooth. Tell them again, how much is a Beartooth when you use code Outlaw?
Great, so we're going to give, I think, 40% off. You twisted my arm pretty hard, so we're going to go ahead and give your viewers 40% off. So normally a radio is $1,250. I think 40% off gets you to $749. So if you use code Outlaw, you can get a Beartooth radio for $749.
So guys, that's cheaper than your current iPhone. Like, I just went and bought the iPhone 16. This iPhone 16 cost me like $1,400. I could have 2 of these actual encrypted comms. I'm a believer in Beartooth. I'm a believer that you need these for just everyday life, especially for just getting, like, when we go to the mountains and we go hunting, we go fishing, I take my Beartooth so that I could communicate with my people. As long as we're in line of sight, we're talking. And if we put them up in a drone, we can talk, what did you say, up to 30 miles?
10 to 30 miles easily.
Yeah, so this is a crucial piece of kit for me. It's crucial for my family, it's crucial for my group. This is probably some of the best spent money that I could offer. I don't put anything on the channel if I don't 100% believe in it. I've used these in real life conflicts, real life hurricanes, and they're amazing.